Welcome to another FPL video, lots to cover in this one. I'll quickly take a look at game week 22, my team selection for the next game week, take a look at the watch list, transfer plans, I'll revisit my chip strategy, and I end the video with the captain selection, so let's have a look. 33 points and a red arrow for me so far. This is recorded before the Chelsea against Wolverhampton game, so hopefully Sanchez and Cole Palmer can save me. Cole Palmer is my captain, so I'm really hoping that he will start and that he can deliver some attacking returns. Nice to see two of my differentials. SA, he got an assist, and Kai Havertz with the goal. And I'm not really that disappointed that Salah and Alexander Isak blanked. They were both above 100% effective ownership, so if they did well, it would actually have hurt my rank. The problem for my team this game week is that so many of my threats scored, especially Chris Wood getting a goal and an assist on Sunday really hurt my rank. But hopefully, as mentioned, Cole Palmer can do something on Monday and save my game week. This is how my team looks ahead of game week 23. I will probably start Fabianski. I'm not really keen on playing Sanchez against Man City. They did really well in game week 22 against Ipswich. In defense, Masraoui, Gabriel and Lewis Hall, Gordon, Salah, Palmer and Esse in midfield, and up front, Alexander Isak, Joao Pedro and Kai Havertz. This means that Anderson will be on the bench. I might actually play him ahead of Masraoui. As a matter of fact, I might actually bench both of them. I will make a couple of transfers ahead of the next game week, but I'll talk more about this in the transfer section. Please note that there are midweek cup games before the next deadline. 6 teams will be involved in the Europa League and the Champions League, so wait as long as possible and wait before the press conferences are done before making your moves. The watch list for game week 23, I really like the idea of bringing in Liverpool assets. At the moment, they have a really good fixture in game week 23 against Ipswich at home, followed by a double game week in game week 24 when they play against Bournemouth and Everton. In game week 25, they also have a nice fixture at Anfield against Wolves, so I definitely think that this is a good time to bring in Liverpool assets. Most of us probably have Mo Salah. If you don't have him already, I advise you to get him in for those fixtures. The next on the list is Trent. He is expensive, 7.2, but I think that he is worth it. If you don't have the funds to bring in Trent, I also like Konate. Only priced at 5.1, and it looks to be nailed on in their defense due to Joe Gomez's injury. So those three are definitely decent cover from Liverpool. My advice would probably be to invest in their attack. I know that their attackers other than Salah are minute risks, but I think that with those fixtures there will probably be a lot of goals for Liverpool, so I'm willing to take a punt on other attacking options. So let's take a look at them as well. So when it comes to the other attacking options from Liverpool, these are the ones I'm considering. Gakpo, he is priced at 7.4. He's classified as a forward, so if you need a forward in your team, then Gakpo is probably the one to go for. I know Darwin Núñez, he came on and scored 2 goals in game week 22, but I still think that Gakpo is the better buy. He's only selected by 9% of the managers, and he has a decent expected goal of 2.38. Next on the list is Luis Diaz, really frustrating asset for his owners recently. He's actually dropped in ownership. He was like 30%, now he's down to 17. He has an expected goal of 1.66, and I think that if he don't start, he will come on and is always a threat when he's playing. Another option is Jota, only 7.2 and only selected by 3% of the managers, so he is a really big differential. He did not play in game week 22, so I will probably not bring him in for game week 23. We'll wait for more news, but he might be a good option for double game week 24 if you have the patience to wait. My advice at the moment would be, if you need a new forward, bring in Gakpo, and if you need a new midfielder, then Diaz is probably the better buy. If you're already triple up on Liverpool and have some spare free transfers, I would probably consider bringing in Everton assets, and my first choice would be to bring in one of their defenders, Mykolenko. I really like his price, 4.3, selected by 5.5% of the managers. If you need a new goalkeeper, I think that Pickford is a decent choice at the moment, considering that they have a double game week with 2 home fixtures in double game week 24. If you need a new attacker and want to take a punt on an Everton asset, then NDI probably is the best option. I know that Calvert-Lewin scored in game week 22. He is on penalties, but I would probably prefer taking a punt on NDI at 0.5% ownership. My advice would actually be to look somewhere else, but if you're set on bringing in an Everton player, then these 3 would be one of my preferred options. One of my transfers ahead of game week 23 will probably be to sell Kai Havertz. I know he scored and did pretty well in game week 22, got 7 points, but I'm not sure that he can keep on delivering, so I might as well sell him. I've actually considered selling him earlier, but never got the chance. So Kai Havertz to Gakpo. When we look at the fixtures, it makes sense. I know Arsenal, they have a decent fixture in game week 23 and 25 as well, playing against Wolves and Leicester, but they have a tough game against Man City in game week 24, where Liverpool actually have 2 fixtures. So selling Kai Havertz to bring in Gakpo also frees up 0.4, so I'll use this to upgrade one of my defenders as well. Kirkis might be the one that has to leave to get in that third Liverpool player for me. I know that he has done well recently, especially in game week 21, and he scored a goal in game week 22 as well. But when we take a look at the fixtures, they play against Nottingham Forest, really good form at the moment. Liverpool in game week 24 before their fixtures get a little bit better. So short term, I really like Trent, and I will probably bench Kirkis the next couple of game weeks. So selling Kirkis to bring in Trent is one of my options. But let's take a look at another option as well. I might actually sell Lewis Hall to bring in Trent. I know that Newcastle have a really good fixture in game week 23. They play against Southampton and then Fulham in game week 24. But I'd much rather have Trent, of course. And this also comes down to which chip strategy I'll choose. If I go for a free hit in game week 29, I'll probably keep Lewis Hall. But if I go for a different chip strategy, I will probably sell Lewis Hall and try to offload some of my Newcastle and Liverpool players ahead of blank game week 29. So blank game week 29 will be a game week where 4 teams will have a blank. It looks likely to be Newcastle and Liverpool, Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. So if I decide to not free hit in game week 29, I will start to sell Newcastle and Liverpool players ahead of game week 29. But let's discuss this further in the chip strategy section. So this is my chip strategy at the moment. I will probably play my triple captain in the double game week 24, where Liverpool have 2 fixtures against Bournemouth and Everton. I discussed selling Kirkis or Lewis Hall. This depends on blank game week 29. It looks likely that Newcastle, Liverpool, Aston Villa and Crystal Palace will blank in game week 29. The thing is that those teams will also have a double in game week 33. So the teams that blank in game week 29 will have a double game week a couple of game weeks later. So my plan is actually to just free hit in game week 29, so that I'll have my players back and ready for game week 33. So in theory, then my team will be pretty good for double game week 33, and I can use my assistant manager chip to take advantage of the double game week, in addition to having a lot of double game weeks players already. I'll use free transfers to sell my players that blank in blank game week 34, and the blank in game week 34 is caused by the FA Cup semi-final. So all the teams reaching the FA Cup semi-final will have a blank in blank game week 34. In game week 35, I will use my wildcard to set up my team nicely for double game week 36. It will be the biggest double game week of the season. My plan is to get a lot of double game week players so I can play my bench boost in double game week 36 as well. Hopefully this cheap strategy can give me some decent green arrows and give me a nice finish to this season. If you want more information about the blanks and the doubles and a more detailed explanation of this cheap strategy, please go watch this video. Newcastle and Alexander Isak, they have been really good recently. Not that impressive in game week 22, of course, and that's probably the reason why I'm considering not captaining Alexander Isak this game week. But when we take a look at their opponent for game week 23, it's really tempting. The Southampton, they have kept 0 clean sheets, conceded 13 goals, 25 big chances and 32 shots on target, and they have an expected goals conceded of 11.80, which is the worst in the league. So Southampton, they have terrible defensive stats, and I think that Newcastle can do well against them. But as mentioned, I'm not really convinced by Alexander Isak and Newcastle. I know that he has got a lot of praise recently, but after watching the Newcastle games, I actually think that he has been a bit lucky with some of his returns. So I might actually go against Alexander Isak and go for another captain in game week 23. Mo Salah is another contender for captaincy. I know it's probably not a punt or anything, but I just think that Isak is a really good option. But at the moment, I actually think that Mo Salah is even better. When we take a look at Ipswich, they have kept 1 clean sheet, conceded 10 goals, 11 big chances conceded, and 22 shots on target. They have an expected goals conceded of 8.06, which is 18th worst in the league. So for me at the moment, Mo Salah is my captain. I know that Isak has a really good fixture, but I will probably play the home advantage for Liverpool and Mo Salah in game week 23 and captain him against Ipswich. Let me know in the comments down below who will be your captain for game week 23.